We are here with Sarah Kurpel, Athletic Director at Penn State Brandywine. She is identified as the coach's coach. So it seems only right that we talk about teamwork in this one. She's going to mention her career starting as a player, going to a coach, working in the athletic department here at Newman University, and then all the way to where she is now at Penn State Brandywine as the athletic director. So I'm going to pass it off to her, let her take the reins.
So teamwork means something different for everybody, but for me, I kind of have blended teamwork with being opportunistic. I was going to be cut, I'm like Michael Jordan, I was going to be cut from my freshman year field hockey team because I just, everybody struggles with confidence, but I had some issues as an athlete with confidence. So I was going to be cut. The coach said, we're going to keep you on the practice team. You don't get a uniform. You can come every day and you can learn. And I wanted to be a part of it. So I stuck on. Like a couple days later, the goalkeeper sprained her ankle. Nobody else wanted to do it. I don't have any experience doing that. So I just raised my hand. Happy to do it. I jumped in, got a uniform, was able to travel, was on the team. And then from there, I did end up graduating high school and playing in college here at Newman as a goalkeeper. But what I wasn't ready for was the role that I was jumping into as a goalkeeper, the only goalkeeper in a sport I had no experience for. So again, my role went from being this peripheral player to somebody who was integral to the success of the team. And I think what the hardest part there was learning how to balance. I had no one had any expectations for me here, but now all of a sudden when I'm missing saves, when I'm missing shots, all of a sudden everybody's angry at me. Right. So the spotlight got shown on me right away. So what's really important with teamwork is trying to self-identify where you fit into this. And if you're dissatisfied with how your role fits into your expectations of your experience, to see if you can enhance that in some way by either asking for more responsibility, taking a leadership role, seeing how you can pull more weight or delegate some weight too, because we have leaders across the board in teamwork where they take on too much and then they're not effective, or they don't take on enough and they just kind of hide in the shadows.
Yeah, so that's all as a player. Let's kind of jump into coaching now. So you saw it from a player, and it's not always easy to transition from player to coach. We've seen, successes and failures, both professional sports, college sports, where maybe the game came easy to someone and they went to coach it, didn't go too well, or the game was very difficult to someone and they coached really well. So let's talk about teamwork from the coaching.
It's so hard. I would really love bringing my former players to the other side of the line, and I would welcome them like welcome over, because they don't realize the different kinds of problems we have. Even further, so now as an athletic administrator, managing coaches is another step over that line. So it's really challenging. It's constantly reassessing what the goal of that group is. Players, they want playing time. They want to win. There's all the things like those are their goals there. Coaches, constantly thinking about winning, managing resources, and a lot of coaches thinking about that next step, filling out their resume. Now as an athletic administrator, I am administrating from a place managing a full staff of part-time employees and I tell them in the interview process, because I do want to manage their expectations, that this is a part-time job and it will be such for the foreseeable future. As a leader, I've got to be okay with the fact that, and I put it out there in a bold way, that this is not a terminal position for you right now, because I'm paying you like $10 an hour, which is it's heartbreaking to say out loud. So I have to manage from that perspective. What can I continue to do to treat these people right, to get them to achieve their goals? Remember, we said winning, we said managing and stretching budgets, we talked about preparing them for the next job. And if I lead from that perspective, they, number one, might stay longer because they feel their worth. But also, then it helps manage my own expectations of if someone's not acting in a way that's becoming to our department. Am I achieving the goals that I set out, which is to be the coach's coach who is preparing them perhaps for their next job. So it's kind of like really identifying those goals.
Yeah, so I'm going to flip the switch a little bit, but I'm going to take some of the stuff that you just said. So expectations, preparation, obviously listening, but I'm not going to talk about that one too much. Expectations and preparation are huge. Now, if we flip this to the business side, because everything has a business angle, whether you get cut from a team or you're managing coaches, there's always a business aspect there. And these students, as interns, as students, are trying to figure out how to fit on a team, find their role, find their place on a team, whether they're managing budgets or doing, tax work, or they're, working in sports to do like a game day or an event. They're looking for that role. How do you just show up at an internship or show up at a job and figure out what your role is?
Well, that's really hard because, and I want to kind of to flip you on your switch here, is that acceptance of that role. A lot of times you're given a role, and how many people are like, I don't want to do that. Some folks get to the point where they automatically think they should be manager level, and that's really difficult because if we're all managers, no one's doing the boots on the ground kind of a work. So it's either identifying the role or accepting the role you've been given, and then finding opportunities to make yourself feel like you're hitting that expectation for yourself. You think about teamwork in an altruistic kind of a way, that if we really want to ideally do it right, you have to have everybody accepting of their role. Sports analogies are easy. The water boy is critical to the success of that team. And, we've seen it in many different ways, whether it's the trainer squirting water or manager squirting water into our mouths. Taking that load off of the athlete's plate, and I know it might not sound like a load, but in some cases, if you have a high-level athlete, if you take the water concerns off their plate, they can focus on listening to coach. And it's a small thing that really goes a long way. You as the water boy then have become important so that person can do their job better by doing your job better. So there's little ways that you can find, and you have to be accepting of that, and then know the value. And here's like a real kicker: know that nobody might appreciate the role that you do. So you might have to find ways to kind of like assert your worth to folks. Like, hey, if I didn't do that, then you'd be searching for your water bottle or putting your shirt on or doing something. But I'm going to manage that for you. And that's an important role. Yeah,
just to kind of go off what you said, this ties back to when you were the goalie. You didn't know how to play goal. You were learning on the fly, and people were getting mad at you. But you were saying, I'm doing the best. I'm learning, and each and every failure or
and you didn't have a goalie.
And goal I let up is a learning experience for me. So I think that's a good point. I'm really glad you flipped the switch, because the accepting of the role is a key component. So preparation, expectations, and accepting of the role, and understand that role can evolve as you and your skills evolve. So that's kind of, we could just call it the boilerplate of teamwork and finding your role on a team, whether sports, coaching, or in business. So thank you very much, Sarah. I think that's a really good way to end on teamwork. Thank you.
My pleasure.